Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back in for our new read aloud. It's always hard to pick up another book after you've read something that's as great as the one and only Ivan. But something that I love to do when I've found a really good book is to then check out that author, figuring if they wrote one really amazing book, chances are they probably wrote more than one. So that brings us to our next one. Crenshaw, and it's by the same author, Catherine Applegate. I always like to start with the back of the book just to make sure that it sounds good and to give me a little bit of information before I start. So this book is about Jackson and his family have fallen on hard times. There's no more money for rent and not much for food either. His parents, his little sister, and their dog may have to live in their minivan. Again. Crenshaw is a cat. He's large, he's outspoken, and he's imaginary. He has come back into Jackson's life to help him, but is an imaginary friend enough to save his family from losing everything. All right, here we go. Crenshaw by Catherine Applegate. Part 1. It says a door is to open. A hole is to dig. A first book of first definitions, written by Ruth Cross and illustrated by Maurice Sandak. Chapter 1. I noticed several weird things about the surfboarding cat. Thing number 1, he was a surfboarding cat. Thing number 2, he was wearing a t-shirt. It said, "Cats rule, dogs drool." Thing number 3, he was holding a closed umbrella, like he was worried about getting wet, which, when you think about it, is kind of not the point of surfing. Thing number 4, no one else on the beach seemed to see him. He'd grabbed a good wave and his ride was smooth, but as the cat neared shore, he made the mistake of opening his umbrella. A gust of wind yanked him into the sky. He missed a seagull by seconds. Even the gull didn't seem to notice him. The cat floated over me like a furry balloon. I looked straight up. He looked straight down. He waved. His coat was black and white, penguin style. He looked like he was heading somewhere fancy in a hairy tuxedo. He also looked awfully familiar. Crenshaw? I whispered. I glanced around me. I saw sandcastle builders and frisbee tossers and crab chasers, but I didn't see anyone looking at the floating, umbrella-toting surfer cat in the sky. I squeezed my eyes shut and counted to 10, slowly. 10 seconds seemed like the right amount of time for me to stop being crazy. I felt a little dizzy, but that happens sometimes when I'm hungry. I hadn't eaten since breakfast. When I opened my eyes, I sighed with relief. The cat was gone. The sky was endless and empty. Rap! Inches from my toes, the umbrella landed in the sand like a giant dart. It was red and yellow plastic, decorated with pictures of tiny, smiling mice. On the handle, printed in crayon, were the words, "This bumper shoot belongs to Crenshaw." I closed my eyes again. I counted to 10. I opened my eyes, and the umbrella, or the bumper shoot, or whatever it was, had vanished, just like the cat. It was late June, nice and warm, but I shivered. I felt the way you do the instant before you leap into the deep end of a pool. You're on your way to somewhere else, you're not there yet, but you know there's no turning back. Chapter 2. Here's the thing. I am not an imaginary kind of guy. Seriously. This fall, I go into 5th grade, and at my age, it's not good to have a reputation for being crazy. I like facts. I always have. True stuff. 2 + 2 = 4 facts. Brussels sprouts taste like dirty gym socks. Facts. Okay, maybe the second one's just an opinion. And anyway, I've never eaten dirty gym socks, so I could be wrong. Facts are important to scientists, which is what I want to be when I grow up. Nature facts are my favorite kind, especially the ones that make people say, "No way." Like the fact that a cheetah can run 70 miles per hour, or the fact that a headless cockroach can survive for more than 2 weeks, or the fact that a horned toad gets mad, or the fact that when a horned toad gets mad, it shoots blood from its eyes. I want to be an animal scientist. I'm not sure what kind. Right now, I really like bats. I also like cheetahs and cats and dogs and snakes and rats and manatees, so those are some other options. I like dinosaurs too, except for all of them being dead. For a while, my friend Marisol and I both wanted to be paleontologists and search for dinosaur fossils. She used to bury chicken bone leftovers in her sandbox for digging practice. Marisol and I started a dog walking service this summer. It's called See Spot Walk. Sometimes, when we're walking dogs, we'll trade nature facts. Yesterday, she told me that a bat can eat 1,200 mosquitoes in an hour. Facts are so much better than stories. You can't see a story. You can't hold it in your hand and measure it. You can't hold a manatee in your hand either, but still, stories are lies when you get right down to it. I don't like being lied to. I've never been much into make-believe stuff. When I was a kid, I didn't dress up like Batman or talk to stuffed animals or worry about monsters under my bed. My parents say, when I was in pre-K, I marched around telling everybody I was the mayor of Earth. But that was just for a couple of days. Sure, I had my Crenshaw phase, but lots of kids have an imaginary friend. Once, my parents took me to see the Easter Bunny at the mall. We stood on fake grass next to a giant fake egg in a giant fake basket. When it was my turn to pose with the bunny, I took one look at his paw and yanked it right off. The man's hand was inside. It had a gold wedding ring and tufts of blondish hair. "This man is not a rabbit," I shouted. A little girl started bawling. The mall manager made us leave. I did not get the free basket with the candy eggs or a photo with the fake rabbit. That was just the first time I realized people don't always like to hear the truth. Chapter 3. After the Easter Bunny incident, my parents started to worry. Except for my 2 days as mayor on Earth, I didn't seem to have much of an imagination. They thought maybe I was too grown up, too serious. My dad wondered if he should have read me more fairy tales. My mom wondered if she should have let me watch so many nature shows where animals eat each other. They asked my grandma for advice. They wanted to know if I was acting too adult for my age. She said not to worry. No matter how adult I seemed, she told them, I would definitely grow out of it when I became a teenager. Chapter 4. A few hours after my Crenshaw sighting at the beach, he appeared again. No surfboard this time, no umbrella, no body either. Still, I knew he was there. It was about 6 p.m. My sister Robin and I were playing cereal ball in the living room of our apartment. Cereal ball is a good trick for when you're hungry and there's not much to eat until morning. We invented it when our stomachs were grumbling to each other. Wow, I would love a piece of pepperoni pizza. My stomach would growl. And then hers would grumble, yeah, or maybe a Ritz cracker with peanut butter. Robin loves Ritzes. Cereal ball is easy to play. All you need are a few Cheerios or even a piece of bread all torn up. M&Ms would be good too, if your mom isn't around to say no sugar. But unless it's right after Halloween, you probably don't have any. In my family, those guys go really fast. First, you pick a target to throw at. A bowl or a cup works fine. Don't use a wastebasket because that might have germs. Sometimes I use Robin's T-ball cap, although that's probably pretty gross too. For a 5-year-old girl, that girl can really sweat. What you do is you throw one piece of cereal and you try to make a basket. The rule is that you can't eat that piece until you score. Make sure your target's far away or you'll finish your food too fast. The trick is that you take so long to hit the target, you forget about being hungry, for a while anyway. I like to use Cheerios and Robin likes Frosted Flakes, but you can't be picky when the cupboard is bare. My mom says that sometimes. If you run out of cereal and your stomach's still growling, you can always try chewing a piece of gum to distract yourself. Stuck behind your ear is a good hiding place if you want to use your gum again. Even if the flavor is gone, your teeth get a workout. Crenshaw showed up. At least he seemed to show up while we were busy throwing my dad's bran cereal into Robin's cup. It was my turn to throw, and I got a direct hit. When I went to take out the cereal pieces, I found 4 purple jelly beans instead. I love purple jelly beans. I stared a long time at those things. Where did the jelly beans come from? I finally asked. Robin grabbed the cap. I started to pull it away, but then I changed my mind. Robin is small, but you don't want to mess with her. She bites. It's magic, she said. She started dividing up the jelly beans. 1 for me, 1 for you, 2 for me. Seriously, Robin, stop kidding around. Where? Robin gobbled down 2 jelly beans. She said, which I figured meant stop teasing me in candy mouth. Aretha, our big Labrador mutt, rushed over to check things out. No candy for you, Robin said. You are a dog, so you eat dog food, young lady. But Aretha didn't seem interested in the candy. She was sniffing the air, ears cocked toward the front door, as if we had a guest approaching. Mom, I yelled, did you buy some jelly beans? Sure, she called back from the kitchen. They are to go with the caviar. I'm serious, I said, picking up my 2 pieces. Just eat Dad's cereal, Jackson. You'll poop for a week, she answered. A second later, she appeared in the doorway, a dish towel in her hands. Are you guys still hungry? She sighed. I've got a little mac and cheese leftover from dinner, and there's half an apple that you could share. I'm fine, I said quickly. Back in the old days when we always had food in the house, I would whine if we were out of my favorite stuff. But lately, we'd been running out of everything, and I had the feeling my parents felt pretty lousy about it. We have jelly beans, Mom, Robin said. Well, okay then. As long as you're eating something nutritious, said my mom. I get my paycheck at Rite Aid tomorrow, and I'll stop by the grocery store and pick up some food after work. She gave a little nod, like she'd checked something off of her list, and went back to the kitchen. Aren't you going to eat your jelly beans? Robin asked. Robin asked me, twirling her yellow ponytail around her finger. Because if you want me to do you a big favor, I guess I could eat them for you. I'm going to eat them, I said, just not yet. Why not? They're purple, your favorite. I need to think about them first. You are a weirdo, brother, said Robin. I'm going to my room. Aretha wants to play dress up. I doubt that, I said. I held a jelly bean up to the light. It looked harmless enough. She especially likes the hats and also socks, Robin said as she left with the dog. Don't you, baby? Aretha's tail wagged. She was always up for anything. But as she left with Robin, she glanced over her shoulder at the front window and whined. I went to the window and peered outside. I checked behind the couch. I flung open the hall closet. Nothing. Nobody. No surfing cats. No Crenshaw. I hadn't told anybody about what I'd seen at the beach. Robin would just think that I was messing with her. My mom and dad would do one of two things. Either they'd freak out and worry I was going crazy, or they'd think it was adorable that I was pretending to hang out with my old invisible friend. I sniffed the jelly beans. They smelled not quite grapey in a good way. They looked real, they felt real, and my little sister had just eaten some. Rule number one for scientists is this: there's always a logical explanation for things. I just had to figure out what it was. Maybe the jelly beans weren't real and I was just tired or sick, delirious even. I checked my forehead. Unfortunately, I did not seem to have a fever. Maybe I had gotten sunstroke at the beach. I wasn't exactly sure what sunstroke was, but it sounded like something that might make you see flying cats and magic jelly beans. Maybe I was asleep, stuck in the middle of a long, weird, totally annoying dream. But still, didn't the jelly beans in my hand seem extremely real? Maybe I was just hungry. Hunger can make you feel pretty weird, even pretty crazy. I ate my first jelly bean slowly and carefully. If you took tiny bites, your food lasts longer. A voice in my head said, "Never take candy from strangers." But Robin had survived. And if there was a stranger involved, he was an invisible one. There had to be a logical explanation. But for now, the only thing I knew for sure was that the purple jelly beans tasted way better than bran cereal. All right, thanks for tuning in. Check back later for some more pages of our new book, Crenshaw. Don't forget to like and subscribe.